Hello, this is Kevin Annett, Eagle Strong Voice. It's Saturday, November 6th. I'm bringing you a breaking news development in the campaign to issue an arrest warrant and to bring into trial for crimes against humanity Pope Francis, Jorge Bergoglio. I'm speaking to you in my capacity as the Canadian Field Secretary for the prosecuting court, the International Common Law Court of Justice. The important news is that 10 Indigenous nations and their elders in Canada have allied with the court and have pledged themselves to aiding the arrest and prosecution of Jorge Bergoglio. And here are the details. Indigenous nations in Canada will aid in the arrest of Pope Francis. Coalition of Traditional Elders issues order barring Pope from entering their territories. Elders of 10 Indigenous nations have endorsed an international court's arrest order against Pope Francis and have declared they are barring him from their territories, which span all of Canada. The elders have also pledged to aid in the arrest of Pope Francis because of, quote, his unpunished massacre of our people and our land and his personal guilt in the ongoing torture, trafficking, and death of our children. Now, their order was issued today as part of an agreement with the International Common Law Court of Justice and myself, Kevin Annett. The elders represent the following sovereign nations in Canada: the Squamish, the Gitxsan, the Nuu-Chulnjuth, the Interior Salish, the Chilcotin, Métis, Cree, Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Mohawk, and Mi'kmaq people. The order says, quote, if Jorge Bergoglio trespasses on our territories, he will be arrested by the peacekeepers of our warrior societies and surrendered to the International Common Law Court of Justice in accordance with our arrest order on November 1st. We endorse and ally ourselves with the court and with our brother Kevin Annett, Eagle Strong Voice, who has for years spearheaded the fight to bring Bergoglio and his genocidal church to justice. Now, a copy of this order can be found at murderbydecree.com under ITCCS updates, the posting for November 6th. That will be up very soon at that website. You can see more of it. Now, it's important to remember this development is happening right when the Vatican has invited various Aboriginal puppet leaders to Rome on December 17th for a 2-day consultation. Now, of course, when I say puppet leaders, I don't mean the traditional leaders of the Indigenous nations in Canada, but the appointed government-funded chiefs who do not represent their people and have been working actively to suppress the evidence of genocide in Canada, including the mass graves of children. So that's one of the reasons that prompted the 10 Indigenous nations and their traditional leaders to come forward and say, no, these people do not represent us. We do not want this Pope on our territory. As a matter of fact, to quote from their statement, we, the traditional Sejm, Sachem, and elders of our nations, hereby invoke the Great Spirit and the land law of our respective people, and forever ban Jorge Bergoglio, Pope Francis, and his agents from our territories. We order him to stay away because of his ongoing massacre of our children. We do not want or need an apology from the polluted lips of Bergoglio and his church that has blood on its hands. Pope Francis needs to be tried on the charges of crimes against humanity, to which we can personally attest. Now, this order affirms what's already happened, which is several years ago, most of the nations I've mentioned, the Indigenous nations, actually banished the Anglican, Catholic, and United churches from their territories because of their ongoing crimes against their people and also their history of killing over 60,000 children in the residential schools. And we remember and honor these children now by these actions. Now, in other words, it isn't just Pope Francis who faces prosecution, but these 3 churches' property and assets can now be lawfully seized by these Indigenous nations. And in fact, what is being going on across Canada. Many local Indigenous nations have been taking over Catholic churches, evicting the priest, and reclaiming them as reparations, as they're entitled to do, as reparations for crimes against humanity and the death of 60,000 children. So the stand that Indigenous elders are now taking with us as allies to our court is going to be a great weapon in not only preventing Bergoglio and his church from operating in this country and anywhere, but actually aiding the arrest and prosecution of this war criminal. Now, there'll be more specifications and charges that will be made public very soon. There'll be statements of the various Indigenous elders who have ordered him off their land, who are seizing the church properties, and who will engage in the arrest of Jorge Bergoglio, Pope Francis, if he dares to come to Canada. He has announced he's coming to the Kamloops mass grave site, where his church slaughtered over half the children who went there. There'll be a reception party waiting for him if he dares to do that, or dares to come anywhere within the borders of these Indigenous nations. Now stay tuned for more at murderbydecree.com under ITCCS updates and republicofcanada.ca under breaking news. This is Kevin Annett, Eagle Strong Voice, speaking not only as the Canadian Field Secretary of the International Common Court of Justice, but as an adopted citizen of the Anishinaabe and the Métis and the West Coast Squamish Nation. And further in that, the Chief Capilano of the Squamish Nation in 2008 appointed me as his legal agent, fiduciary officer, to enforce the eviction order against these genocidal churches. So I'm acting in those capacities in alliance with the Indigenous nations. There'll be more coming out by the middle of this coming week with the charges and specifications and statements of the Indigenous elders who will aid us in the arrest of so-called Pope Francis. Stay strong, stay clear. There'll be more coming soon. This is Kevin Annett, Eagle Strong Voice. I thank you.